I'm Clayton. Welcome to another one of my bass tips. I thought we'd talk a little bit today about sound. A lot of people ask me and others, how do I get a good sound? That's such a, I won't say it's a difficult question to answer, but it is packed with so many angles that we could approach it from. I like to first encourage people to discover what sound they naturally get from the instrument. Let's not even call that our sound. It's the sound that's just happening. So when you grab your bass and you just play some open strings and you just play some notes. Playing some notes, what does that sound like? And is that a sound that you want and like and can live with? Now, obviously, all of us need to be flexible enough to get the sound that's appropriate for the music that's being played. So there are going to be a lot of times when your sound is not your sound. I mean, who are we kidding? Obviously, it's coming from you. It's coming from me. But I think that we need to get out of our own heads and only focus on the music that's going on around us, and then let our experience and wisdom and taste determine what is for your feeling the sound that's appropriate for the music at that moment. So that means really checking out a lot of different kinds of sounds. That's the important beginning. The next important step, I find, is to discover and research sounds. So I'm going to research sounds, I'm going to discover sounds that I really relate to, and sounds that probably make sense for a lot of the music that I'm going to be playing. If I'm playing with a real intense, hard-edged, swinging kind of band, and I need a big fat bass sound with a lot of accents on my notes as I walk a bass line, then I'm going to listen to those kinds of bass players. I'm going to be listening to those Sam Joneses and Percy Heaths and Ray Browns and Milt Hintons and Charlie Mingus's and the list, right? Check them all out so that I can say, whoa, oh God, I love that. That's fantastic. And when you do that, the next step, in other words, you've already researched, you've discovered, the next step is to make that sound your own. Now that it's in your body understands what it is you want it to do. It's got a sound, thanks to you, that you've checked out, that's in there. So allow yourself to get to work and just experiment. If I have this kind of sound in my ear based on having discovered it from someplace, that sound in my ear, in my body will then find a way to get that. It will experiment. Maybe I'll start with having my right hand in this part of the fingerboard. That's okay. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Boom. I'm trying to match up what I'm producing, the sound that I'm producing from the instrument, with the sound that's in my ear. Okay, let me try it with two fingers. Maybe instead of holding my hand like this, I'll hold my hands like this. And I'll keep my fingers together and play that way. Had to cheat there and use two fingers. But still, that wasn't the sound I was looking for. So I just keep experimenting. Let's see what happens if I move my fingers down here. That's closer. Whoa, that's closer. And I just remember that. And let's see what happens, because of videos that I've seen, live concerts that I've heard, I've seen bass players have their thumb on the edge of the fingerboard instead of having their fingers like this. I've seen point their fingers down toward the floor, down toward the bridge, and play this way with one finger. That's what I'm looking for. And it takes that sort of experimenting. It takes that research, that discovery, and then trying to match what you're doing to the sound that's going on in your body. Those are the steps. And of course, there are different sounds that we can get. The one I just kind of demonstrated, you may end up using a lot in your jazz settings, which is your thumb against the edge of the fingerboard, right? And keep that there the whole time. People do this in different ways. I'm just going to show you how I've seen a lot of musicians do it and how I do it. I prefer to have my thumb on the edge of the fingerboard. I have seen people kind of hook their thumb underneath the fingerboard. I'm not as much a fan of that because I find that when I do that, I have to at some point pull my thumb back out in order to make different sounds. So I can get usually most of what I'm looking for by keeping the thumb on the edge of the fingerboard. So that's one way. I've seen other people point their thumb upward, almost as if this were a vertical electric bass. So instead of going like this and their thumb would be like this, they kind of flip it this way and let their thumb point upward. Again, that doesn't work for me as much because I often prefer to have my fingers pointing downward, and it's a lot less tension and a lot less work if I allow my thumb to be in this position. Okay, so thumb on the edge of the fingerboard, and what I do is I let my finger touch the string that I'm going to pluck, and then I let the second string stop my finger. Of course, here there's no second string to stop my finger. If I play the G string, the D stops my finger. Play the D string, the A stops my finger. A, the E stops my finger, etc. So that I find in most of the situations that I'm in as a jazz bass player, it works really well and is sufficient and perfect for what I'm looking for. I do use other techniques. If I'm playing a tempo that allows for me to go, I can use one finger all day, no problem. If I'm playing something a little faster, or if I want to add something else, like now I can involve my other finger. So I'm not stuck to just playing with one finger. I go back and forth. And there might be an instance where I find in a certain tempo, it might be easier if instead of having my finger point toward the bridge, toward the ground, instead I turn my hand this way and go. So now I've got that going on, and that makes a lot of sense if I had to play at a faster tempo. So those are a couple of immediate techniques that I use to get sound. There are countless other ways that we can get sound. I've seen people play so many different ways. If you're playing a slap technique, some slap bass players like to keep their hand, think of touching the string, but not especially hooking their finger around the string. Just touch it and then throw the entire hand outward and then come back. That way. So sometimes some people will use their first finger to do that. Other people will use their middle finger. So there are so many ways that we can do that. For that kind of sound, that kind of a technique, just touching the string. Other people do prefer to have the feeling that they angle their hand around more and touch the string and pull out this way. If you examine the music of people like Oscar Pettiford, bass player Oscar Pettiford, you'll hear a sound when he played that was similar to this. So what he would do is he wouldn't slap, and he wouldn't always have the next string stop his finger. He would touch the string and kind of go somewhere in the middle. So he would pull out this way. So that's another kind of sound, another kind of technique that we can use to get another kind of a sound. Those are a few sound ideas, and we're going to continue with that in more of our bass tip episodes. So thanks again for joining me for another one of our bass tips. See you soon.